أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد والثناء لله رب العالمين ثم الصلاة والسلام على سيدنا وعظيمنا وحبيب قلوبنا وشفيع نفوسنا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
Class 19, with inshallah, this week is going to be the last week that we're talking about the asma, the names that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala taught Adam alayhi salam. Okay, inshallah we're going to wrap it up. We spoke about initially the non-Shia tafsir. Then we spoke about the Shia tafsir, and we finished off with the tafsir of Allama Tabatabai, rahmatullah alayh, in Tafsir al-Mizan. Now I'm not going to go through a summary of everything, I'm just going to go through a very quick summary of Allama Tabatabai's opinion on this, and from that we're going to build onto the next set of Shia tafasir. Okay, so the first thing that he mentioned, is so I need to just I'm going to write it in like dot point forms, so I'm not going to write out the whole thing, but just so we can build on it. Okay, so the first thing that he said, that they are rational, and intellectual beings. Okay, if I make a spelling mistake, don't worry about it, because I am going to make spelling mistakes. It's funny, in my in my school taqwa class, which is grade 4 to 6, they're always correcting me on the board whenever I write. I have to ask them for permission. Anyway, so from the language being used in the tafsir, in particular the word aradahum, Allama Tabatabai explains that what Allah displayed to the angels to name has to be superior, intellectual and rational beings. Okay, that's the first point. The second point is, the names, they're not names that we simply understand what names are. It's names on a much deeper level, to the point where it's the deeper meaning, the deeper philosophy of everything. Everything that is named, everything that has a name, everything that you can think of which has a name. And believe me, there's nothing that you can think of that doesn't have a name. Okay? That thing, whatever it is, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala taught him the deeper meaning and understanding of those things. Okay, that's point B. Point C is what Allah taught Adam alayhi salam. What Allah taught Adam does not equal, is not the same as what the angels. What Adam taught the angels. It's not the same thing. Firstly, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when he used in the Arabic language, he used wa'allama. He gave him ilm, he taught him, full comprehension and understanding. When it came to Adam and the angels, anbi'hum, tell them, give them news, not explain, but just give a surface meaning of what you've learned. That's enough. And he explains that this is because the angels could not comprehend everything that Adam was taught. They did not have the capacity. And what Adam told them was enough. And it's just like an expert coming in here talking about something that none of us here understand. Just from him speaking about the topic, even if you don't understand it, you know that this guy knows what he's talking about. And in this particular field, he has more knowledge and therefore more superior than you. That's the third thing. Point D is everything that was named was initially in a treasure. Right? Treasure, and it's unlimited. Unlimited? Yep. Okay. So everything that was named was firstly unseen. It was in the ghaib. It is not like we see things here. For example, if the thing was named was a chair, up in heaven when he was teaching him and showing him, it was not actually a chair that we see it like this. It was in a different form. A different reality. It was in the form that is in the treasure that's with Allah. And the proof that Allama Tabatabai uses for this is ayah 15:21, where the ayah says, and everything that was created is in a treasure with Allah, or everything that is in a treasure with Allah, with us. So whatever was created is in a specific treasure. What that treasure is, it could be Lawh al-Mahfuz, it could be al-Kitab, it could be the Arsh, it could be the knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's something that is with Allah, a treasure, okay? And it has a different reality. And then the ayah says, and when we bring it down, we give it its limits. That's when it has the form that we see it in today, okay? And this is why it's also acceptable to say that it is intellectual superior beings. Because in that form, it was something else. It was intellectual. It had rationale. Okay, and we talked about how even in this world, even though we don't understand everything, for example, glorifies Allah. Okay, all right, good. A, B, C, D, E is he mentioned 3 hadiths. Okay, hadith. First is the one that we saw in, for example, Tafsir al-Ayashi. Okay. I spelled that wrong for sure. That tafsir says everything. Imam Sadiq alayhi salam says the things that were named were everything. Mountains, trees, valleys, oceans, water, even the carpet. Okay, everything. Okay. The second hadith is the one in Ma'ani al-Akhbar of Shaykh al-Saduq. Okay. In Ma'ani, what was that? The hadith says that what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala displayed to the angels was spirits, or in the form of spirits of the, for example, the awliya, meaning the vicegerents, the real vicegerents, which is like the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Imam Ali alayhi salam, Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam, and so on and so forth. It was these things, and as soon as the angels saw it, khalas, they were convinced. Okay, once they understood who they were just by their name, it was enough. Okay. Then the third hadith was the one in Bihar al-Anwar from Allam al-Majlisi. This hadith goes even further, and he uses this hadith to reconcile these hadith, to say, look, these two don't conflict. Yes, it can be everything that was ever created, and yes, it could be the Prophet, for example. Why? Because the hadith says, everything that was ever created came from the spirit or the soul or the nur of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So he says the spirit of Muhammad was split and everything good came from it. And then it was split again, and then the arsh and the kursi were created. And then split again, and then the pen and the tablet, al-lawh wal-qalam was created. Until he says the prophets were created, and so on and so forth. So everything, so Allah created the nur of Muhammad, and from everything that was created, from the nur of Muhammad. Okay? Understood so far? This is how he reconciles the 3. E and then F, okay, this is something extremely important what he says. He doesn't elaborate on this at all, but this will help us in the next tafsir. He says that these things, these superior beings, are no different in person. No different in person. Okay? What they are different in is in grades and in rank. Okay? And he leaves it at that. He doesn't elaborate any further. Okay? What this is alluding to is actually further explained in the next tafsir. Okay? Which is tafsir al-Safi. Okay, so we'll go on to that. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad.
اللهم صل على محمد
الثاني على حب الزهراء.
اللهم صل على محمد.
Before I go on, is there any questions? No? Has anyone put their hand up? Okay. Everything clear so far? Okay, inshallah. Next is Tafsir al-Safi, which is written by or compiled by Failal Kashani, exactly. Okay? Now, he is considered one of the Ithna Ashariya Shia Mufassiri. Okay? Now, this is my personal opinion, and it's just a feeling. I believe, and this was written before Tafsir al-Mizan, I believe a lot of what Allama Tabatabai wrote is based upon this tafsir. Okay? I think as well, Allama Tabatabai, he was very clever. Very clever. When he produced al-Mizan, he made it so that anyone who reads it can resonate with it. Whether he be Shia, Sunni, someone who's just entered into Islam, someone who's a arif, someone who's very mystical, okay? Anyone who reads it can understand it. So he simplified, I believe, what Tafsir al-Safi says. Okay, so the first thing is, what he does, al-Kashani, is he lists all the hadiths. The ones, for example, in the Ayashi, and al-Ma'ani and Bihar. And then he adds one more hadith, which we've actually already spoken about. Does anyone remember what it was? It's the hadith and tafsir mansub ila Imam al-Askari alayhi salam. The tafsir al-Askari. He says something very interesting, Imam al-Askari alayhi salam. He says that the names are the prophets, the successors, Prophet Muhammad, Fatima, Hassan, Hussein alayhi salam, and the enemies. Ahsant. The enemies. He introduced something that these hadiths did not talk about at all. He said the enemies, okay? Which, somebody might raise the question right now, is then how can the enemies have been created from the Nur of Muhammad? Because everything good came from the Nur of Muhammad, okay? So now here, Al-Fayd al-Kashani tries to reconcile that hadith as well. He also introduces something else, not considered, which is qira'ah, okay? What that is in the time of the Prophet, okay? In the time of the Prophet, after the Prophet had revealed the Quran, each sort of section or tribes within Arabia had their own style of reciting the Quran, okay? This is because, in a particular tongue. Someone who's foreign to English, for example, when they start speaking English, they'll have an accent. They won't say words exactly the same as we. For example, I might say thing, but someone from a different country might say ting. Okay? Just as an example. This is the way they pronounce it. In Arabia, okay, people also had different pronunciations. We, the Shia, the school of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, believe it was revealed in one pronunciation. Okay? But some other schools of thought believe no, it was revealed in 7, and some say 10. Okay? So an example, I think we spoke about this once, I'm not sure. But some people say, for example, Maliki Yawmiddin. And some people say Maliki Yawmiddin. Okay? In fact, those two have different meanings. We spoke about this in Tafsir of Surah Al-Fatiha. What's Malik and what's Malik? Sorry? King and owner. Yeah. Okay? So one is king, Malik, and Malik is owner. So one is saying the king of the Day of Judgment, and one is saying the owner of the Day of Judgment. And this emerged because of pronunciation. Okay, the way that people pronounced it, or it could have been somebody made a mistake, and this happens all the time. This happens all the time. Somebody does a mistake or introduces something, and people see it, they like it, then they start doing it. Okay, a good example is, for example, in our salah. In our salah, one thing that emerged with us is in our qunut, we turn our rings. Okay, we turn our rings and recite the dua. According to most maraja, they say that this is actually something that's not part of our fiqh. Okay, it's not part of our fiqh. Someone has started doing it and people have carried it on. Not to say it's haram, but they say it's not part of our fiqh, and some of them say it's makruh. Okay? Another one is, for example, in qunut, they wipe their face after it. Okay? According to our maraja as well, wiping the face in the obligatory prayers is either makruh or not part of our fiqh at all. But as soon as something, now you go to the Imam Ali Center, you go to any prayers, Friday prayers, you'll see them all wipe their face. Not all, but a lot of people wipe their face. And that's because people don't, see someone does it and they think, okay, it must be part, it looks good, it looks spiritual, so on and so forth. But according to our maraja, you have to go back to your maraja. Some will say it's acceptable, some will say it's makruh. But the point is that something starts and people follow on from it. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. Where was I? Qira'ah. Okay. So, he's saying that aradahum. Okay? We said aradahum indicates what?
Plural.
Yeah, presenting, but what type of things is he presenting? Intellectual, rational beings, which Alama Tabatabai holds on to. But he says, Al-Kashani, and this is not tahrif, this does not mean that the Quran is changed, by the way, but it's another topic. Sayyid al-Khu'i has written a book about it. If you want to read it, read it. But he says someone like Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, what he used to recite it as, and he says وَعَرَضَهَا. Abdullah ibn Mas'ud was one of the companions. If you guys remember the story, he was the one that killed Abu Jahl by standing on him, and Abu Jahl says, get someone else to kill me, this is embarrassing. I'm getting killed by the shortest guy here. He says, what a mountain you had to climb when he stepped on his chest. Okay? That's Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, was someone who actually had a very good recitation, very good voice. Okay? He says that Abdullah ibn Mas'ud used to recite Aradaha. This changes everything. Does it become rational intellectual beings now? No. It could be anything. Okay? So he says, there's one that says Aradahun, one says Aradaha. Now he tries to reconcile all of them. The hadith of Imam al-Askari, these hadiths, and the different readings. Now what does he say it is? Obviously he says as well, it means it's the philosophy of the things that are named, but he says, actually, the things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala taught Adam was the names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, if you remember, in the tafsir of Mehdi Puya, what did he say? Anyone remember?
Names of Allah.
Mehdi Puya, if you remember, yeah?
He said it could not be the names of Allah.
Ahsant, mashallah, barakallah fiqh. He says that it cannot be the names of Allah because it's in plural. Because aradahum means many things. Now the names of Allah, there's 99, there's 1,000, whatever you want to take, okay? But that's names of Allah. When you present the things that is named, how many things are you going to present? Are you going to present, for example, the God Ar-Rahman, the God Ar-Rahim, the God Al-Malik? No, are you going to present one or 99 gods? How many? One. Okay? They're all pointing towards one. Okay. But here he says, but remember that there's different readings. Okay? There's different readings. It could be kullaha and aradaha is individual. So we can reconcile it. So he says that the names and the named are absolutely no different. This is why he says kullaha and aradahum. What do I mean by that? Is there a difference if I call upon Allah with the name Ya Allah or Ya Rahman or Ya Rahim? Is there any difference? No. In fact, in the Quran, it says, call upon me with Ar-Rahman or whatever name you like, it's the same. Okay? According to the school of Ahlul Bayt, according to Imam Ali, alayhi salam, he says, all those names point to the one person, and that's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And he's not compartmentalized, if that's a word. There's not a section of Allah that's Ar-Rahman, and that section can be removed from him. For example, I might be a very generous person, okay? I'm a very generous person, but something might happen in my life, and all of a sudden I become a jerk. Okay? Generosity no longer is a part of me. But with Allah, it doesn't work like that. He is the generous. Generosity is Him. Okay, does that make sense? Anyone not understand? No? Sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Yep.
I've got a question. It might be a stupid question, but aradaha, does that mean it's a feminine one and it'd be aradahu if it was a masculine one? And doesn't the masculine encompass both? And
Yes.
okay.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I'm no expert in Arabic. I'm far from it. If anyone speaks Arabic, they'll know how many mistakes I make. But yes, as far as I'm aware, there is a masculine-feminine difference. But to be honest with you, I'm not going to even bother because I'm gonna not answer it correctly or sufficiently. But yes, there is a difference. But in terms of this context, not necessarily. Not necessarily.
Anyway.
Yeah. So I'm gonna not answer that question because I don't know. Okay. But I don't see it affecting this. Okay. So the named and the named. Allah is Ar-Rahman as a name and as an essence. Okay. Understood? So kullaha or kullahum, it doesn't make a difference because the name of Allah is the essence of Allah. Okay? Now, this is where it gets really interesting. He says, everything ever created is actually a manifestation of the names of Allah. Everything created is a manifestation, or some would say a reflection of the names of Allah. Does anyone, can anyone give me an example of what this means? A very easy example, and I'll go into it a bit deeper. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He was sent as a mercy or rahmah to mankind. Okay, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is a reflection or a manifestation of Ar-Rahman or Ar-Rahim. Okay, or for example Al-Malik. Okay, Al-Malik, a king in this world, is a reflection of the name Al-Malik. Okay, so we'll get into this a bit more. Really need to update this window. Okay, so he says, everything ever created, including the friends of Allah, the awliya, the prophets, the successors, is a reflection of the names of Allah. And the enemies of Allah is also a reflection of the names of Allah. How? All the names that are latif, the names that are nice, the names that are pleasant, easygoing, the friends of Allah is a reflection of that. The merciful, the kind, the generous. All the names that are harsh is a reflection, or the enemies are a reflection of that. For example, Al-Jabbar. Yeah? Al-Jabbar, how do you translate that? The forceful, or the enforcer. Okay? So someone who, for example, is an oppressor will use a lot of force upon someone. They'll force them to do things that they don't want to do. Okay? This is the theory that he's presenting. Remember, this is just theories. Okay? It's not necessarily the case, and it goes very deep, and I don't want to go too deep into it, but I'm just giving you a glimpse of it. So the enemies of Allah as well are a reflection of the names of Allah that are harsh. Okay? Shadidul Aqab, the one who's harsh in punishment. When the oppressors are, for example, punishing the certain people, they're using that name, they're manifesting that name. Okay? Everyone with me so far? Okay. Now he says the biggest proof of this is the Ahlul Bayt alayhim as-salam are a manifestation of all the names of Allah. They've got the perfect balance. Just like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the most perfect, the most balanced in everything. Because the 99 names is all one put together in the perfect balance that He is beyond comparison perfect. Now the Imams alayhi salam also encompass that in a limited sense. In a sense where they brought down from the treasure into the creation. In a limited sense, they reflect the names of Allah in perfection. And this is where the hadith of Imam Sadiq alayhi salam. There's an ayah in the Quran where it says, for me is the most beautiful names, Asma al-Husna. For me is the most beautiful names. So call upon me with those names. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says this in the Quran. Call upon me by my beautiful names. Okay? Here Imam al-Sadiq says about this ayah, he says, نحن والله الأسماء الحسنى التي لا يقبل الله من العباد عملا إلا بمعرفتنا. The Imam says, we, the Imams, are the names of Allah. We are the beautiful names of Allah. That none of your deeds are accepted except that you acknowledge us. This is the hadith of Imam al-Sadiq. Okay? And actually some people take this in two ways. There's two tafasir for this. One, they say, this is a proof that we can say Ya Ali. This is a proof we can say Ya Muhammad. When we're doing dua, we do Ya Ali, Ya Muhammad, Ya Fatima, Ya Hassan, Ya Hussein, Ya Mahdi Adrikni. Bar, no one said. But what they're saying, okay. embarrass myself. What they say is, you can call upon the names of the Imams because they are Asma al-Husna. Okay? Yes, Allah, His name is Al-Rahman, Al-Rahim, but also the names of Allah is Ya Muhammad, Ya Ali, Ya. And we'll see that later. We talked about it last week, we'll talk about it again. The names that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave the Imams and especially Ahlul Kisa is a reflection of the names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Therefore, you can do shafa'ah. This is a proof. This is the biggest proof that we have. Some say this. Some say no, you have completely misinterpreted this. He hasn't said, the Imam hasn't said, do dua through us. He says, we are Asma al-Husna, meaning we are the perfect reflection of Asma al-Husna. You want to see Asma al-Husna in action? Look at us. This is Ar-Rahman, this is Ar-Rahim. Not to say that we are God, but we are implementing the names of God, which gives us the right to be the vicegerent of Allah. Because remember, the first thing that we said is that a vicegerent, a Khalifa, has to be the closest in representation to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So they're the two theories about that hadith. So Allah has manifest and have true knowledge of all the names. They really understand the names of Allah and how to implement it. Okay? And He displayed them, the created thing in the spiritual and thus intellectual beings. Yes. So He said, so everything ever created was in a spiritual form. Okay? Like Allama Tabata'i said. And He asked the angels to say the names of Allah that these things are manifest from. So for example, He brought Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and said, tell me the names of Allah that is reflected in this being. Okay, and they were not able to. And then Nabi Adam said, these are the names. So Nabi Adam understood who Prophet Muhammad was, and he was able to tell him, this is Muhammad, who is a reflection of Al-Mahmud. He's a reflection of Al-Rahman. He's a reflection of, and so on and so forth. Okay? And then he used the same hadith in Bahar al-Anwar, where everything was created from the nur of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And then he uses another very important hadith, okay, where it starts off. It's a very long hadith. This is a short part of it, and it's also related in another book, which we'll get to. He says, Adam alayhi salam was being taught the names of everything that he asked to be taught. Okay? Then he saw on the arsh, what's the arsh? The throne. He saw 5 lights next to the throne. And he said to Allah, what are the names of these 5 lights? Okay? And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Ya Adam, هذا أشباح أفضل خلائقي. هذا محمد صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم وأنا الحميد المحمود. Okay, so he says, O Adam, these are the spirits of the best of my creations. This is Muhammad, okay? This is Muhammad, and I am Al-Hamid Al-Mahmud, the praised and praiseworthy. This is Muhammad, and I am Al-Hamid Al-Mahmud. في فعالي شققت له اسما من اسمي. I have split a name for him from my name. Okay? وهذا علي وأنا العلي العظيم شققت له اسما من اسمي. This is Ali and I am al-Ali al-Azim. This is the high, al-Ali, this is Ali the high, and I am the high and the all high and the all great. Okay? Then he says وهذا فاطمة وأنا فاطر السماوات والأرض. فاطمة أعدائي من رحمتي يوم فصل قضائي. Did I say that right? فصل قضائي. وفاطمة أوليائي عما يعيرهم ويشينهم. Correct? Just pretend it. Okay? So here he says, and this is Fatima وأنا فاطر السماوات والأرض. And I am the one that splits the heavens and the earth and separated them. And then he says, Fatima A'da'i. Fatima, what does it mean? Or Fatima?
Take apart. Meaning.
Weaning is actually the correct translation. What Talib said, it means is to rip apart. Okay? To literally tear apart. Okay? But it comes literally, it means weaning. What's weaning?
The gradual process of separation from the phase of breastfeeding to being an independent eater?
Ahsant. Okay? Now, I have to say this because I'm really excited. I've got a pet kitten now. So, yeah. Okay, so and so it had to go through a process of weaning because it was a little kitten and it had to be removed from its mother. That process is called weaning. It's to be adapting to drink its own sort of packaged milk, so that eventually I can fatim her. Is that alright? Oh, good. I'm getting better. Okay, so the point is something that's really attached to something else. Okay, when you pull it apart, that's fatam. Okay, pulling it apart from something very attached. Now here he says, I named her Fatima because she is the one that separates, that was closely attached previously, separates my enemies from my mercy on the Day of Judgment. And my loved ones from the, I guess, what is it? Disgrace and humiliation. Okay? Just something to ponder on. I don't want to go too deep into this. But there were certain people here, there's an indication that certain people were very close to the rahmah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And due to Fatima, they had to be removed from that rahmah. Just ponder upon that point. Sallallahu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. So the point of that hadith is what? That, oh, I've really run out of time. Surely not a fifth week. Okay,
you
so
have to come back next week.
Oh god. Okay, I'm really looking forward to my break. But anyway, so here the point is that these names, he uses this hadith to say that when Adam was taught these names, which is so special, because Allah explained that these came from my names directly. Okay, and when this was shown to the angels, GG, basically game over. The angels thought, that's it. These people deserve the Khalifa. Okay? Now, maybe the last one. Actually, can I go for about 5 more minutes? I'm going to slightly go over a salat time. Inshallah, may Allah forgive me. I'll take the burdens, inshallah. Okay? Furat al-Kufi, I'm going to actually skip this. Furat al-Kufi, he's a Zaydi, according to some. Some say he's Itna Ashari, meaning a 12er Shia. Some say he's actually a 5er, which means he only believes in the first 5 Imams that we believe in. Okay? Now, this is one of the earliest hadith books or tafsir books. He also has another similar hadith, very long hadith, almost the same thing. Okay? Almost the same thing. So the origins of that hadith come from Furat al-Kufi. Okay? We can move on, inshallah? Okay. Names of Allah. Now, again, I'm going to skip this. Just know that all the names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you can find in the Quran the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam reflecting them. For example, the mercy of Allah. Allah says in Surah 7:156, my mercy encompasses all things. In Surah 21:107, Rasulullah was sent as a mercy to mankind. My mercy encompasses all things, and the Prophet was sent as a mercy not actually to mankind, lil-alameen, to all the worlds. Okay? Kindness of Allah. Wallahu ra'ufun rahim. Here in 9:28, notice this is Surah al-Baqarah. The only surah that doesn't have Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, but still, Allah says that this Prophet, bil mu'mineen ra'ufun rahim. For the believers,
It's the last verse as well, which is interesting.
it is very interesting. He ends with that. Subhanallah. Next, Allah is al-Ghani, which means rich. Okay, well, it's translated as rich, but it's not necessarily meaning that. It means one that's self-sufficient. When you're rich, you don't need anything else. Okay, and it doesn't necessarily need to be with money. Okay, if I'm rich with money, I don't need to beg. I don't need anyone else to give me money. But it could be I'm rich with, for example, contentment. I'm rich with love. If I get enough love from my wife, I don't need to look for a second. I'm so gonna get in trouble for that. Okay? Allah is Al-Ghani. Right? Here as well, and again in Surah Al-Baqarah, Surah Al-Tawbah, the one that doesn't say Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَأَغْنَاهُمْ Allah wa Rasulahu min fadlihi. And the one who enriches people is Allah and the Prophet. And the Prophet, min fadlihi, from his bounties. Okay? So that's just something to contemplate on, that the Prophet reflects even in the Quran, reflects the names of Allah. Okay, finally, Sayyid Kamal al-Haydari. Okay? Who knows Sayyid Kamal al-Haydari? Okay, very popular in the Arabic YouTube world. Okay? Very popular guy. He does a lot of, initially he did a lot of Shia Sunni rhetoric. Now he's kind of publicizing his Hawza classes, his high-level Hawza classes. I found his opinion, very interesting opinion, one I don't agree with, but I'm going to share it, okay? It's very outlandish, it's very exotic, let's put it that way, okay? What does he say? Actually, I'll put him down at the board. Okay, 3 minutes. Okay. The teacher. وَعَلَّمَ آدَمَ الْأَسْمَاءَ كُلَّهَا. Who's the teacher? Allah. Who's the student? Adam. Is there a medium? Who taught who? Okay, Allah taught Adam. Was there anyone in between? For example, did Allah teach someone and then someone teach Nabi Adam? According to Kamal al-Haydari, he says no. I say Allahu Alam. I don't know. But according to Kamal al-Haydari, it suggests that he taught him. And he uses one proof, okay? Earlier, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Inni ja'ilun fil ardi khalifa. Inni. Okay, what's inni mean? In fact, what's the difference between inni and inna? Yeah.
Inna is plural, so
Yeah.
people will be doing it. Inni is himself.
Perfect. So, inna, right, means we. So if it said inna, it means we. And Allah uses we a lot. And this is something that people attack Islam about. Oh, look at your Quran, it says we. What? How many gods do you have? You say you're kings of Tawheed, blah, blah, blah. Why does Allah say we? There's many theories as to why Allah uses we sometimes. For example, when does Allah use we? He says, Inna nahnu nazzalnahu al-dhikr. Or, Inna a'tainaka al-kawthar. Or, Inna nazzalnahu fi laylatil qadr. Okay? We, and this all revolves around, we gave something. For example, Inna nazzalnahu fi laylatil qadr. What does it mean? We have revealed the Quran on Laylatul Qadr. Why did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala use we? There's many theories, And Kamal al-Haydari says, yes, there's many theories. I have my theory, which fits this perfectly. He says, my theory is, which others say as well, my theory is when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says we, it means He uses a wasita, a medium. So, for example, the Quran from Allah to the Prophet. Direct? Not direct. Who is the wasita? Jibreel. So he says, Inna, we, because there was a medium. Even though it was Allah to the Prophet, he uses a medium, so he says Inna. Here he says, Inni ja'alun fil ardi khalifa. Okay, the early ayah he says, I have put on this earth a khalifa. So he says, carrying on from that, وَعَلَّمَ آدَمَ الْأَسْمَاءَ كُلَّهَا means, I taught directly Adam the names. Okay? Everyone with me? So, the first to learn full stop, and not only that, the first to learn from Allah direct was not an Ulil Azm prophet. Ulil Azm is what? There's the great prophets. There's 5 great prophets that we have who are superior than all other prophets. Ibrahim, Nuh, Musa, Isa, Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He says, isn't this odd? That the most superior of prophets was not from the ones that A, learned directly from Allah, and B, were the first to learn from Allah. He says, isn't this odd? Who deserves this position to be the first to be taught? And then he asks, how did the Prophet learn? Was it through Allah directly? We discussed it. The wasata was Jibreel. Everything came through Jibreel. Then he says, yes, of course, they're not names yet. We can skip that. Not names. Yeah, we talked about this. So he said, who can this person be? All that stuff is basically what we talked about before. He just reiterates that. here he says, so who can this person be? Who is this person that was the first to learn from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Adam, the one who's not from the top 5 prophets, the one who learnt without a medium, yet the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam needed a medium, needed Jibreel to teach him. So he says, this Adam, actually, this Adam is not the same Adam that is the first father of all human beings. It's not the Adam of Prophet Adam alayhi salam. Okay? He says it's not Prophet Adam alayhi salam, the one that married. Well, actually, I don't know. I haven't researched it yet. But he says it's not the one that produced all of mankind. But he says, okay? He says this Adam is the Adam of the hidden world, of the batin world, of the world before this world. Okay? This Adam is actually... This Adam is a different Adam than the Adam of this world, okay? Therefore, he believes in his theory that this Adam in that world is the spiritual Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Salawat.
Muhammad.
So he says there can be no one more worthy of this position to be the first to learn knowledge. And remember, Jalaluddin al-Suyuti says this knowledge that Adam learned had to be from the knowledge of Muhammad. Okay? Yes?
Just a question, where in the Arabic or where is it implied that Nabi Adam was the first to learn? Or the first to be taught?
There is an understanding from the way you read it that he was the first.
Okay.
Because he says, I'm creating a human being on this earth, and therefore the angels were first introduced to Adam. Okay? In any case, he says that this Adam in that world is not the Adam of this world. The Adam of that world is Adam being the first creation, is Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And this is why he says, there's a hadith, many hadiths that says, I was the first prophet created as Nur and the last one sent. Okay? And then he uses other hadiths, for example, the Prophet said, Sabbahna فَسَبَّحَتِ الْمَلَائِكَةِ. We did tasbih, then the malaika did tasbih. Okay? And this, according to him, is the explanation of the Urafa and the Sufiya, or the Sufis. He said, and he says in the end, you want to take this translation, this explanation, take it. If you don't worry about it. You can take your own.
But
this is my opinion. Yes?
can we say something here? Like, maybe there is some sort of truth to this, or maybe not. I don't know. Because don't the angels say, we don't know what you have taught us? And they were obviously there before Adam. So were the angels taught before Adam? Or is that different because their statuses are different?
I don't know. I don't know what his opinion is. He says there's many things that he needs to discuss. For example, what about when the shaitan, how did he convince him to come down from heaven? See, the point behind Kamal Haydari's point of view, Sayyid Kamal Haydari, is he's saying there can be no one in such an honoured position other than Prophet Muhammad. It cannot be. In my opinion, very humble and very insignificant opinion, I believe it's bringing down the position of Prophet Muhammad, in my opinion. And there's a lot of conjecture, I believe. But I haven't inspected it enough. I haven't inspected it enough because I've only watched clips, okay, from his official website. And he says, I'm writing a book to explain this fully, okay? So, this is just a theory that I wanted to posit first and foremost, okay? Kamal Haydari, by the way, is fantastic in tafsir al-Quran. Absolutely fantastic. If you want to do, for example, tafsir of ayat al-Tathir, إِنَّمَا يُرِيدُ اللَّهُ لِيُذْهِبَ عَنْكُمُ الرِّجْسَ أَهْلَ الْبَيْتِ وَيُطَهِّرُكُمْ تَطْهِيرًا. He has one of the best tafsir I have ever come across, okay? But in saying that, he also has a very mystical, irfani point of view with a lot of things, which is conflicting with some of our other scholars that say, no, we should depend on, for example, a hadith, okay? There's differences of opinion. And he himself says, you don't need to follow this point of view. This is his point of view, again. And this is, going back to Allama Tabatabai, what did he say? He said, it's not different in person. What does this mean? Because if everything is a manifestation and a reflection of Allah, or a manifestation of the Nur of Muhammad, it's all the same, but then there's different grades to them. Okay? This is what he's saying. And this is the point of view of Kamal Haydari, which I have not done enough research. If you want, search YouTube. If you speak Arabic, Kamal Haydari, وعلم آدم الأسماء كلها. He's got about 4 clips, up to 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Okay? I think this covers all of Asma al-Husna, وعلم الأسماء. Any questions? No?
Surah.
Yes.
Are there any hadith from the Imams that insinuate that
He was the one?
Yeah.
He uses many hadith which is here. Okay? He uses many hadith which is here. So the way he interprets these hadiths, look, he was the first created. Therefore, how can Adam learn before Prophet Muhammad? In my point of view, I don't agree with him. I don't resonate with the way that he explains them. I believe the way that, for example, Allama Tabatabai explains it is, he says this is the tafsir of the Arafat al-Sufi. I haven't read, for example, Ibn Arabi, which I know he depends on a lot. Ibn Arabi, it has a tafsir, okay? Jawadi Amuri, I don't know what he says either. It could be something that they have similar theories behind. But what he says as well is, he says there is absolutely no reliable Sahih Hadith in our book, this is his words, no reliable, no Sahih Hadith in our books that Prophet Muhammad was the first of creations. He says there's not one, in his opinion, not one reliable, authentic Hadith, but there is in the Sunni books. And he brings 2 or 3 books from the Sunnis, which is Sahih by their standards, to say that Prophet Muhammad was the first of creations. Okay? Yes?
We need, as you said, we need to know more about his theory, but in reality there is no difference between his theory and Allama Tabatabai theory. Absolutely no difference. He just went in more explanation to what's hidden in Allama Tabatabai. The other thing is there's something in Quran about this. Unfortunately, I tried to search the verse, but it didn't come. But Allah has said, I mean, what I remember from it is, وَعَلَيْكَ وَعَلَى نُوحٍ وَإِبْرَاهِيمَ وَمُوسَى وَعِيسَى. And the big question here, he used the 5 ulil azm, but he put their ranking or their time sequence in Muhammad first, and they came all after him. So I think this is Quranic proof for this theory. But again, at the end...
See, I have absolutely no problems, and I fully support the idea that Prophet Muhammad ﷺ was the first of creation. This I'm confident in. I'm very confident in. Whether he is Adam, I am not convinced about yet. That's the only difference. And yes, these sort of proofs, I believe, still point to this sort of a theory. And I know Allama Tabatabai has views which go beyond this. I know that for a fact. But based on what he said here, I'm very comfortable with it. Okay? And again, my opinion is each. Okay? But this blew my mind, basically. Okay? If this is something that's correct, inshallah, I'm open and willing to learn more about it, but I could not find anything else about it. Anything else?
Yeah, if all of the creation was created from the soul of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, then that means that he must have existed first for that to happen. So
yep. Correct. Which again does not conflict with the ideas that we have presented, but whether he was the first to be taught and the Adam being referred to in the Quran is this is my question mark. Yep.
You know how you said that before, that Adam came and said that, what are these 5?
Yes, 5 lights.
Yeah, next to the Arsh.
Yes, the ahadith, exactly, I said. So there's the ahadith, the apparent of the ahadith shows that there is a difference between Adam and the soul of Muhammad, the apparent. Whether there's a deeper interpretation of that, I don't know. But the apparent of the hadith shows that there is a difference between the Adam that learned and the soul of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I think its time is up. It's almost qada of salah. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Okay, brothers, if we can quickly prepare for salah.